Hey guys, it's Maddy from the Hoop Southbound podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to our latest series, Hoop Like a Girl. While last basketball season we hit big highlights in major games, we felt like this season the women's teams need the coverage that they deserve. So I will be bringing you highlights, updates, and all the latest in SEC women's basketball every week. Today, we're going to take a look at the SEC in the way too early top 25 poll and take a look at those teams getting some love early in that spot. Let's dive into it in the first episode of Hoop Like a Girl.
I don't know about y'all, but I want to win a national championship.
It is not unfinished business any longer. South Carolina has captured its second national championship. Kim Mulkey, in year 2, has orchestrated a turnaround for the ages.
Kicking things off, we have none other than LSU at the number 1 spot. Of course, the reigning national champs top our list with their fierce leader, Kim Mulkey, returning with a giant contract extension and her roster of superstars, including some household names like Angel Reese, who averaged 23 points per game, 15.4 rebounds per game, and shot over 52% from the field last season. Flauja Johnson also getting back in there, averaging 11 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and shot over 42% from the field last season. And these two are also coming back to a new member on the floor with the addition of Haley Van Leef. This team may be an unstoppable force on its way to a repeat. Like I said, Van Leef coming in from Louisville with 19.7 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 3.2 assists per game. This is going to be a huge addition to the Tigers squad. Also, not to mention one of the best recruits in women's basketball in McDonald's All-American, Aaliyah Del Rosario, checking in at 6'6", is going to be the centerpiece to this huge Tigers team in more ways than one. It should also be noted that Angel Reese is noted as the top competition for the best player in the SEC. Definitely going to be a fun team to watch. I think we see LSU really make a run at possibly getting this back-to-back title. If anybody can do it, I think it's going to be Kim Mulkey and her team on this court. Coming in next at number 8, we have South Carolina. A top 25 list just wouldn't be complete without a Dawn Staley team present. While I was a little shocked to see them eclipse the top 10 only because they lost 5 pivotal players to the WNBA draft last season, this team has some great playmakers, including Camila Cardozo taking over for Leah Boston and Raven Johnson returning. Staley also gave the backcourt a huge push in getting Tahina Paopao in the transfer portal from Oregon. Paopao averaged 13.1 points per game and over 44% from the field last season with the Ducks. If the possibility of big wins don't have you on board yet for the South Carolina team, what about one of the biggest games in women's basketball history? This South Carolina team is going to be headed across the pond on November 6th to play Notre Dame in Paris, France. I think that this landmark game will get us ready for the season ahead and show us what kind of team the Gamecocks are going to be this season. Moving on, next on the list is number 9 with the Tennessee Lady Vols. While it's taken some time to figure out the backcourt, the Lady Vols may have a shot at climbing to the top this season. With the transfers of Destiny Wells and Jewel Spears, the two have a combined points per game total of 36, which should translate very well in Harper's offense. Tennessee also got a huge boost when Rickea Jackson decided to stay one more season with the Vols, and Tamari Key is coming back from missing a huge chunk of last year with health issues. This Tennessee team could be a name we hear staying in the win column this season. As I mentioned, Angel Reese was listed as the top competition for the best player in the SEC, but Rickea Jackson claimed the top spot with 19.2 points per game and 54.8% from the field last season. Some huge pieces on this Tennessee offense and defense with these numbers. I think this Tennessee team is going to be better than we've seen in the last few years, and it should scare everybody else. Moving on to number 12, we have Ole Miss. After finishing 4th in the SEC last season, And they're returning 3 of the biggest names on the squad in Scott, Collins, and Davis. Although they lost their leading scorer in Angel Baker, Coach Yo doubled down and pulled in talent from across the nation in transfers from Auburn, UNC, and Florida. These transfers in Kennedy Todd Williams, KK Deans, and Carissa Richardson should give Ole Miss a huge push this year in their search for tournament wins in March. As we Arkansas fans like to call Eric Musselman the importer, the folks down in Oxford have dubbed Coach Yo the transfer portal queen, which I think may stick around after we see these pickups in action this season. Last but not least, at number 21, we have Mississippi State. After last season with the Bulldogs shocking a lot of people and finishing 5th and almost upsetting Notre Dame in the second round of the tournament, this team is looking like a threat this season. With a year for this team to mesh, we could see some upsets and run in the tournament. One of the biggest names to watch in Mississippi State women's hoops, Lauren Park Lane, was added to the Nancy Lieberman Award watch list for the 3rd consecutive season. This award is given out to the best point guard in the nation. So obviously they've got some talent on the floor. Last season, Park Lane averaged 20.8 points per game and 6.3 assists per game. And this offseason, the Lady Bulldogs were ranked as the number 3 transfer portal class and had a top 25 recruiting class coming in. I think we're definitely going to see some movement up the board for this Mississippi State team this season. If you've watched our weekly show about men's SEC basketball, you know we've talked extensively about the conference slowly embracing and getting more competitive in basketball. It's very obvious that the same on the women's side. Now we've been used to seeing the Volunteers and the Gamecocks in the running for the chip, but the rest of the conference is catching up, and it's an exciting time for SEC basketball all around. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the first episode of Hoop Like a Girl. Make sure to join us next week to get a preseason look at LSU and South Carolina. Thanks, guys.